Hey, what's happening, Champion Squad? Welcome your beautiful faces back to the channel, and today we are continuing the solo series, and it looks like I'm gonna have to do this with every legend since you guys are showing so much support on this. If you're new to it, I basically go into every game solo, whether that be with teammates, sometimes without teammates, sometimes duos, sometimes trios, depends how I'm feeling. And the legend choice today is going to be Bangalore. A lot of you guys have been requesting to play a legend that has no high ground mobility, so this should be a fun one. Now, the first tip I want to cover when you're playing solo, and especially a legend that has no mobility via high ground, is going to be using the kit to a T. You need to be able to use their kits to your advantage to come out successful in most situations. Let's say, for example, you're playing Caustic. You really don't want to find yourself out in the open too much. You need to make sure you're abusing cover, playing near buildings, and making smart rotations so that way you can do that. For our case, we are playing Bangalore today, and the smokes are going to be absolutely massive to block off areas. And yes, we are going to be taking advantage of that digi threat as well. And you're going to notice we have a squad down low here, and we also have some people on height. Bangalore's ultimate is going to come massive in this situation. Bango goes down right here. It's going to spread out this way and then push forward. So what I'm going to do to capitalize in the situation is start working my way into the bottom room of this airbase area. I'm going to do that in hopes that I can find people running towards me trying to get to some cover, because this area is pretty much all open. Otherwise, they're going to have to rotate out that way, and that's going to give me a free push to climb up on height and take advantage of the situation. Now, as I start climbing up, we've got a fuse here that has no idea I'm coming, and this fuse is actually sniping somebody way out in the distance. Now, me pushing this fuse in this situation, I do have to mantle, climb up on this ledge, and then start firing at him. I could essentially take some shots where I'm at, but he has some great cover right now. If he crouches, he has a nice head glitch. I'm wide out in the open, so he has the advantage in angles unless I get up top with him. But the problem is, that's a very risky push. Luckily, I found him off guard because my Bango was a great distraction. Take out the fuse, go for an immediate body swap, and I notice my teammate goes down, so I need to quickly shift my attention to see what's going on. If I can start pressuring whoever's in this area right now, it's going to help avoid the thirst. You need to make yourself a threat to the enemies that knocked your teammate.
Making contact with enemy.
Throwing thermite.
Contact.
Now in this situation, both of my teammates are knocked. The Wraith did a great job of knocking whoever was here. Now it's going to be a 1v1 situation. And this is when I need to strategize and play around cover as I close the distance on this fight. And I can do that by one of two ways. First being is to actually just walk up to this rock and play around here. Or I can just smoke this entire area where this 1v1 is going to go down and then push up that way, because I do have a P20 with a digi threat, and that is lethal. So instead of actually smoking the situation, I walked up to my downed Gibby teammate to quickly use as cover. Notice the Wraith out in the open to give up her original cover, which was the small rock, to move over to this larger rock here. That's going to allow me to actually push and play on the same rock she's playing on. So I'm essentially closing distance while I have openings. You don't want to be closing distance when they're pre-aiming you or already firing at you. That is a big no-no. You're just taking unnecessary damage at that point. So pay attention to your openings. As soon as they stop shooting, that's a key moment as well, because that means they have to either reload, weapon swap, or for our case, changing their positioning. And when they're roaming and changing their positioning, that's a great opportunity to capitalize.
Let's relocate here. Reloading.
Now, the Wraith elected to phase out of the situation, which was a big mistake on her part, I think, because I was able to actually thirst one of her down teammates, since it literally didn't waste any time, and now I have that in the back of my head. So God forbid I do lose my first exchange with this Wraith, I can smoke myself out, run to that box, get the armor swap, and now we're back in business.
Putting lead down range. Reloading. Enemies here. You'll be all right.
And I think the biggest thing that won that 1v1 against that Wraith was actually hip firing the 301 at that range. Although I did have height and I somewhat had the advantage in the gunfight angle, if this Wraith is using a shotgun, submachine gun, anything that gives a faster strafe speed when firing, if I was aiming down with my 301 right there, my strafe speed would be very slow and I would be taking a lot more damage. But since I hip fired at that range with the 301, I was able to keep a high movement pace, which is key on avoiding damage. I didn't get out the most damage by doing that, but I was able to crack her and get the better of the exchange. From there, it was a quick weapon swap to finish off the fight.
Whole squad taken out. I like what I see.
Alrighty, and here's where things get interesting. We're getting insta third party, Vantage is already posted up, so what I do is smoke out my down teammate, and also the person I just res, because they're one shot, so by me smoking them out, that's going to create time for my teammate to heal, and since I'm the only one on my team that has actual health and armor, I need to put myself in front of this enemy and challenge this player, aka be a distraction. I have to, it's a must. If I ran away from the situation to get like a better angle, that's going to put my team in shambles, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep my team healthy, help them out as much as possible, and for this case, making sure you're posted up, taking the damage, taking the shots, and becoming the distraction for the time being.
Taking fire. I'm spotted.
We still have that fresh armor swap in that death box, so making sure you have in the back of your head where you know these body swaps are, and try to effectively work on seamlessly swapping these armor swaps mid gunfight.
Need to recharge my shield.
Down the target. Give me a sec. Recharging shield.
Need to recharge my shield.
Reloading.
And there's a beautiful squad wipe, or should I say a beautiful third-party squad wipe. Since they caught us off guard while we had 2 teammates down, it doesn't get much better than that. Now again, let's resort back to that solo tip. When you're playing solo and you have a legend that doesn't have the most mobility, you have to take advantage with what your kit offers. And for me, in my case, again, since we're playing Bangalore, you need to take advantage of those digi-threats. So make sure you can use a weapon that allows you to use a digi-threat in the first place. Now the P20 is actually a goated weapon if you're hitting the shots and you have hammer points. But I'd say the best bang for your buck if you are playing Bangalore is using a submachine gun. It's a little more versatile at range, so remember, smoke yourself out, put the digi-threat to work, and go from there.
Need to recharge my shields.
I broke an enemy shield. Smoke out. Give my shield to recharge. Hostile, right here.
Target over there.
Throwing Arc Star.
Now in this next situation, I really want to break down positioning and how to capitalize on the damage that you dealt. And since I just cracked that lifeline and her teammate was also back there, they elected to go behind this building because they were taking damage. But I also have a Pathfinder that's on top of me. So what I like to do is play against this side of the building. That way I have cover against those 2 enemies that's behind the building. So while I'm using this side of the building as cover from that 2-man team that's on the other side of it, that's going to enable me to turn around and shoot at that Pathfinder that's on height.
Enemy shield broken.
Enemy shield. I'm not.
Recharging my shield.
Let's check out this area.
Hostile spotted.
Opening fire. Broken enemy shield. Reloading.
Taking fire. Give my shield a recharge.
In our next squad fight, we find ourselves in a bit of a sandwich situation. I noticed my team shooting out in the distance at a compound where one of the enemy teams is located. And then we also have a team that is actually flying in and posted up off to our right, and they're getting aggressive. And in a situation like this, We can either back up or force the fight as well, but if we're forcing the fight, we need to make sure we keep things moving and advancing our positioning. When you have a stalemate and you're the team sandwich between two teams, they're just going to keep closing in, applying more pressure until your team falls apart. So capitalizing on plays early, it's what's going to help you get out of situations like these. Now for me, in my case, it was actually this Pathfinder that landed by himself completely away from his team. His team's all the way out in the distance to the right, although it's not a bad play that Pathfinder did in this situation because he does have that grapple to get out if things go bad for him. And he also has his teammates to cover his cross, right? So if I try to walk up towards Pathfinder here, my whole right side is exposed. So since we're playing Bangalore, I need to smoke out this area here. If I smoke out this area, that's going to allow me to walk up on Pathfinder for free without getting shot. And here's where I thought in the back of my head, we're going to be getting pinched by the other team any second now. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to knock the Pathfinder. We're making a lot of noise and this gunfight is becoming extended. So if you're in a situation like this, you need to relocate with your team and try to avoid being the team that's sandwiched. Since I wasn't able to get a knock early off this one team, I can't afford to keep taking risks and keep taking gunfight exchanges trying to get that first knock. All that's going to do is, again, give that other team time to close in and pinch you.
Care package incoming. Let's get to the LZ.
Last squad.
So the team that ended up trying to sandwich us came from this choke spot right here. At the time, we were positioned around this little corner here, so we had to make a small rotation, wide wrap all the way around left, and get to where I'm at right now. Now, the team in front of me ended up wiping the team that came out of that choke spot here. But regardless, that is a perfect example of how to avoid not being sandwiched by two teams.
Giving my shields a recharge.
Enemy shield. Spotted. Double timing it. I broke an enemy shield. Give my
Getting shot at. Quite a face.
Since me and my team did all that damage, we also capitalized on an opening, which is taking advantage of the free real estate that they gave us. They ended up backing up and giving away free positioning. Instead of holding their ground and healing, which they could have healed around this area here, there's a lot of cover here. You have this rock that I'm playing on now. They gave it up for free. We have a Pathfinder positioned here, his teammates around that general area as well, and then there's a Vantage somewhere in this area here. And if you take a look at our mini map here, look at the zone placement. We are gating them out now. They backed up way too far, and now they have to work back up forward while we are applying this heavy pressure, and it's making it very difficult for them to do that. So they put themselves in a very bad spot. I think if they were paying attention to where the border of the zone was closing, they wouldn't have backed up this far.
Give me a sec.
They spotted you. I'm taking shots. Opening fire. Reloading.
Taking fire, boss. Drawing Arc Star. Recharging shields.
We have 40 seconds till the next ring closes, so they do still have a bit of time to actually make a play and get back into the safe zone. But the way I'm actually playing this fight is abusing my cover to the max and avoiding taking too much damage, because already we saw that octane pad once to try and work for positioning and to get into safe zone. And if they deal a heavy amount of damage on our team or me, that's going to give them the opening to do so. So in a situation like this, if you're gating a team out, try and avoid taking too much damage and aim for those gunfight exchanges that favors you.
Recharge.
Giving my shields a recharge.
Double timing it.
Light ammo here.
Make it two.
Taking fire.
As you'll notice, I have the bangle on my hands and I'm looking to place this down this way. Notice we have an enemy player right here, but also notice that's very, very secretive is there's a rope that just went down, a zip line. You see the zip line right here? So guess what? As soon as I throw this bangle down, I know for sure that they're not going to be pushing my right side. They are going to be taking this rope and trying to enter the zone through this left side. So what I do, throw the ult down right away and apply as much pressure as possible to that left side.
Fire, brother.
Come on in. Contact.
Giving my...
Incoming.
Pathfinder immediately bailed on that plan, and now they are pushing the right side where Gibby is all alone. So they made a great play here to bait and switch on the plan that they were trying to make. They made me think they were pushing left. They did. I blocked it. They pushed right, and this is their last chance to actually work into zone.
Giving my shields a recharge.
Let's displace here.
Enemy shield cracked.
Give my shields a recharge.
One down. Hey, I'm getting shot. Enemy shield cracked.
Give it up the shield.
I downed it.
If you guys enjoyed today's video or found anything helpful, don't forget to leave a like rating. It is always appreciated. Let's see if we can break 1,000 likes. If you guys want to see a solo Horizon in-game decision-making breakdown, be sure to check out this video here. And with that said, I'll catch you guys in the next video.